In case you didn't know, the public test cluster weekend was last weekend, and if you were lucky enough and signed up for trying to get a hold of one of the keys to get onto this thing, you would be able to try the what is going to be called the Steel Path. You go and see Teshin, he will give you the option for hard mode. Now, I keep getting asked, what is my opinion about hard mode? And honestly, I don't really have one, but I do. I just keep saying the biggest problem that was with the Steel Path wasn't the, let's just call it, game-breaking bugs that I kept experiencing. Well, once. It did it once, but even trying to kill my frame meant that I had to finish this mission going operator only. It made the mission a lot longer than it should have been, but it was still possible to do. I went into this expecting to be able to just use my normal weapons, use the frame, everything I had equipped, and just jump in, have a bit of fun, walk out the end of the level 5 minutes later. Like you would with the normal ones. The fact that they skipped this going 50 levels ahead, and it now goes to 100 levels ahead. Oh, this was the biggest issue I actually had. The bugs, it's Warframe. You kind of expect bugs. The fact that they skipped over what they said, which was hard mode was going to be level 50 plus. So starting on Earth, it would be 51 to 53. Instead, it's 101 to 103. They jumped straight to what they were going to call the Elite mode, which meant you had to play through the star chart on normal. To unlock this, go see Teshin. He would enable hard mode and everything would be level 50 plus. Level 50 plus I think should still have been what they did, because it would have made it... I really want to avoid saying the word easier, but it would have. But the fact that they jumped straight to the 100 levels ahead side of this meant that, yeah, the gameplay itself, the enemies, they threw me. I did not expect them to be as hard as they were actually going to be, but they were level 100 plus enemies. So it's what you expect. You expected them to be harder. I really should have paid more attention to that fact when I jumped in, and they really took me by surprise when I jumped into this as to how hard they actually ended up being. That, and let's just say aiming issues, meant that the weapons I took in, I wasn't able to actually hit that precision shot, and you make the use of the Shakur that I'm using that would have probably still two-shot the enemies anyway. It did when I managed to actually land those precision shots. Taking the fact that it was a level 100 plus, yes, it made it harder. It was exactly what it's supposed to be. It took me by surprise at first because I didn't expect it to be as hard as it was going to be. But I really kind of hope when the Steel Path actually comes to fruition, pronounced that one wrong, that it is what they said it was going to be, and it starts with hard mode starting at 50 plus, meaning by the time you complete the star chart, the enemies are about 70, 80. Well, really, they'll be approaching level 90, which means when you start over again on what was going to be called Elite mode, you would be ready for the enemies that are going to be level 100 to 113 on Earth, because some of the enemies spawned at level 113. They were actually ridiculously hard to take out. But this just came down to the fact that I kind of had to use the operator for this, and it was quite an interesting... I'm really just going to say thing to happen. But yeah, I'm really interested on seeing what happens when this comes out. I'm hoping that they stick to what they said they were going to do, because it means playing through the star chart 3 times instead of just twice. Once normally, and then once again for the Steel Path, because I can see big issues coming with the Steel Path when you get to some of the higher level stuff. The almost impossible missions which would end up being close to level 150 with enemies spawning on it that could possibly be level 160, 170 with insane amount of armor. And yeah, it's meant to be hard. It's not called hard mode because it's easy. So level 100 plus, yeah, it's a lot harder than I was expecting it to be, but it's still possible to do once you have completed the star chart. It's just, once you complete the star chart, you're not instantly going to want to say, okay, now it's time to start the steel path. Because if you do that, you're not going to be ready. There is a lot. You're going to need to max pretty much every damage mod, health mod, power strength mod for your warframes, multi-shot mod for your weaponry. Make sure you have a really, really good sentinel or companion with you who can survive these things. And oh, it's going to put a whole new spin on the game that, weirdly, I'm actually looking forward to a lot more than I was really hoping I was. Because after that mission, the only thing I could think of was, I'm hoping level 50 plus comes as kind of the midway. And then, of course, you still have the playing through the star chart 3 times rather than what this looks like it could possibly be, which is playing through it twice. Once on normal, and once on, oh my god, I cannot do this because I'm just going to die constantly because I don't have a squad with me to save my butt. So, really interested on seeing how this works out when it eventually comes out, but it was more than anything else. It was challenging, it was fun, it was buggy. Bugs were really kind of expected. Somebody had reported the bug already and it had been noted, so no, I didn't report it. But it was just missing that midway gap that says, what they said originally with hard mode is it would start again at level 50, then once you'd completed hard mode you had elite mode. It's jumped hard and went straight to elite. If it hadn't have gone straight to elite, I think this would have been almost perfect. The fact that they skipped the level 50, I was looking forward and playing through the star chart. It would add so much more to do because there's 230 something nodes on this. And yes, there is experience to it. There is going to be rewards for these. None of those were actually in the game yet. But when they are, sorties are going to be a nightmare. Alerts are going to be catastrophic. And I'm really, really hoping that Elite Sanctuary Onslaught has hard mode Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. Because if that can get up to level 100 already, that means it'll get to level 200. Making it a lot more interesting, a lot quicker to level things up. And also, you don't want to go there to level things up because level 200 enemies with an unmodded weapon is going to be a nightmare as well. So kind of looking forward to this when it eventually comes out. But for now, the test cluster is done. And I kind of enjoyed the little bit that I actually got to play of this. But wow, I really didn't expect them to jump the 50s and go straight to level 100 plus enemies. That took me by surprise. Probably should have paid more attention to this when I was jumping into the missions, but I didn't. So just got completely annihilated in the first 5 minutes of the mission. Survival, defense, or even interception's going to be a complete nightmare for these, as are the excavators. But everything else, so much fun. But anyway, we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.